Hey THL, I'm back again. I was doing Friday, now I'm doing Sundays. Saku, welcome to the THL stream and Sunday Showdown. I'm here with my good friends. We got my Anadon back for another
Hello.
session. And we got Hustle. How you doing?
Doing well. Thanks for having me.
Been great. The action has been fast and furious on the THL side through all series by the sounds of things. We've had quite a few back and forth matches there on Friday, Saturday, and hopefully tonight will be back and forth as well. Points don't really determine who wins, unfortunately, with the kind of a big blowout by Super Chicken's team. But we're gonna have some fun at least and see what Donde does versus Super Chicken. You guys, take it away. Get Pro Series match going on.
Yeah, Pro Series, Pink Conference. Like you said, the points are not too significant here in the determining of this game. It's currently Chicken is down just in time to clown with the lead of 16 over Big DK Energy with that 5. So pretty much have taken all of the matches so far. Did take a few game losses, but no wins on the side of Big DK Energy. Donde, the captain, gonna look to hopefully get that win here, get the team some points. This is two teams that are neck and neck in points, so every one of those points is gonna matter in as we get further into the season. So we'll see if Donde can do it, or if Super Chicken's gonna play spoiler and manage to just complete that sweep there for Chicken is down just in time to clown.
You said it, and Donde's got a tall order ahead of him. Looking at these matchups, looking at the decks that we've got Super Chicken has brought Control Warrior, Boon Priest, the Miracle Rogue, and the Big Spell Mage, whereas Donde has brought Quest Demon Hunter, Miracle Rogue, the Shockspitter Hunter, and Evolve Shaman. So a control-esque lineup from Super Chicken going up against a bit more of an aggressive one that Donde's brought.
Yeah, absolutely. And we do have the bans as well already. So both of those Miracle Rogues are out for this match. But yeah, with those remaining decks, it is going to be a tough, hill to climb there for Donde. But we'll see if it is doable. Stats seem to say that the most difficult deck for Donde might be that DH actually. So we'll see if that one can get a win here into these control decks, if it can get the big burst damage early enough, or if it's going to be the struggling, deck in this lineup here, as the stats seem to indicate.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is going to come down to which deck lines into which deck as they begin to queue up. If Donde leads out with that Demon Hunter right into a Control Warrior, he might be in some trouble, but you never know. That's one of the things that's so great about Hearthstone is sometimes you can find a way even in the smallest margins. So I'm excited to get started and to see these two players battle it out. And as you mentioned, in terms of the win, the points aren't going to matter, but points always matter in THL. And so Donde is looking to keep his team from the sweep and to recover a couple of points here after a tough one for Big DK Energy.
Yeah, absolutely. And with that in mind, what do you think Donde might bring here for that first deck into this tough lineup? I think, maybe sit on that DH unless you want to try to sneak it in early. But what are you thinking?
If it were me, I would certainly sit on the DH and hope for a better matchup. I, typically want to play my best deck, and knowing that Control Warrior's hanging around over there, I might go in with something like the Beast Hunter, which has a lot of flexibility to it. You can have an early board, just sort of tempo gain. You can lean heavy into the weapons and go for some juicy shock spitters there. And looking at this list, it is interesting. I do see Donde is running Zola the Gorgon in there in addition to Bran, so you can get some extra value out of some of these premium value cards like Shock Spitter. Even in some cases, depending on the situation, you get extra Hydrolodons and just keep dropping Hydrolodons onto the board, and going up against something like a Control Warrior, eventually they're going to run out of tools. But we shall see. What do you think Super Chicken might lead out with?
Yeah, with that in mind, I feel like Chicken might start off either with that mage or that warrior. But
They're in.
Oh, and we're in, so we're gonna find out right now what
So yeah,
they are thinking.
for our viewers out there, we got Donde as first to spectate for my casters, and he's at the bottom of the screen with Super Chicken at the top of the screen.
All right, so it is going to be that warrior first for Super Chicken, trying to get that win with that, and the hunter on the other side for Donde. So good predicts for the two of us.
Indeed, and quick mulligan, and we're off. Donde is on the play. There's not a lot of huge starts for Hunter in this matchup. You've got 2 1-drops typically, and it looks as though the list that Donde has brought has surrendered one of those for just the Trog. So you've got the tracking there. You've got to play on one. It's better than nothing at all.
Yeah, absolutely. Donde kind of cutting a few things here to make room also for those harpoon guns. You don't see those in every one of the lists. Sometimes you see, what are they called? The keen eye spotters in some lists. So interesting to see how that's going to line up, as well as only running 1 Bloodseeker. But I guess the extra harpoon guns balancing that out with that Zola.
Yeah, and interesting that they don't have those keen eye spotters in this list. If they're not able to pull out a win in this matchup, they're going to have a difficult time going up against the likes of Big Spell Mage and Boon Priest, which you would really want those keen eye spotters in. So really important matchup here for Donde. And on turn 3, he does have the Wild Spirits in hand, so he is able to start generating some pressure. But against a warrior, you're going to have to really generate high value. So let's see what the choice is here.
Yeah, kind of an interesting decision, but I think Wild Spirits makes a lot of sense and hits, I think, the ones that you're looking for here in this matchup for sure.
Now, he did roll the stag, which makes the harpoon gun a little bit tricky in terms of timing, because you don't want to lose the value you can get off of that harpoon gun, and it will break against the weapon that you get from the stag. So turn 4, he's got Alistair in hand, so that's kind of a clean turn there if he wants to Alistair hero power.
And then the Spirit Poacher lets him do that instead of the hero power if we want to do the Astrolord Poacher and go wide, although into the Control Warrior, double Shield Shatter, we see that in the hand already. Rancor also certainly a consideration. Could just hold back with that hero power, we'll see. Donde does go for the Spirit Poacher here, though.
Yeah, a lot of removal in hand already. Some small minions on the board, so something making it easy to do something like a Rancor, get a little bit of armor early. But also, with these dormant minions, you're gonna have to really pace yourself with your removal so you don't run out of things too quickly. Stag is live now. You get a weapon.
Yeah, and I think the name of the game here for Donde is going to be utilizing as many of those weapon hits as possible to get those shock spitters up. Especially, we see this hand, it's going to gain a lot of armor, remove your board, so you're really going to have to maybe find that lethal from hand with those shock spitters.
Yeah, I think so too. It's going to be a tricky balance of keeping the warrior within range of what you can ultimately achieve with your shock spitters, and probably trying to get as many shock spitters as you can. So you want lots of selective breeders. Ideally, you'd be able to play Bran into selective breeders to get 2 choices off of it. But he does have Beastalker Tavish on 6, so that hero power is suddenly going to become just a perpetual value engine for him, continuing to generate threats against Super Chicken's control deck.
Yeah, exactly what you want here. Fortune Flame gonna allow a few draws, and starting to gain that armor. We see that Galvanger is already online when we get to that point.
Yeah, it's huge to have. It's pretty easy when what you're doing is putting up armor and using it to clear a board like he just did. One shield shatter out of the way. One left. He does also have 2 brawls in deck he has not yet found. And so quite a bit of juice left. Turn 6 for Donde, and we see Beastalker Tavish come down.
Interesting choices here. Freezing Trap maybe could come into play. Not too many
Yeah.
hits in that deck, and then Ice Trap. I think Ice Trap here out of these options.
It does look like those are the best options there. You love the Freezing Trap knowing that your opponent's got Galvangar. So it's going to be a good way of mitigating that charge. And then Improved Ice Trap would make a spell more complicated, but it looks like they might have gone with the improved emergency maneuvers there.
Yeah, maybe trying to get more, I don't know, get Rams, another Astalor eventually.
Yeah, it could be one of these, trying to anticipate a minion that they could get down first so that when it dies off of any of the warrior's clears, it would go back to hand. It might allow them to, get that Astalor down on 8, get a little bit of damage in, and then get one right back. Well, you wouldn't get the battle cry off of it because it just regenerates it onto the board. So, I'm not really sure what they actually would bring that would be beneficial with, except for perhaps the Storm Pike Battle Ram. You're just keeping the bodies there.
Yeah, agreed with you there. It's going to be an interesting one. Maybe the Summon Pet gets you like a Huffer that they have to deal with, and then you get the Huffer. Maybe that's the thought process. But what did we end up taking the Devouring Swarm? We do have the Shock Spitter in hand, so not a bad pickup. And this is going to let us continue. Ooh, I think we want to Hero Power if we can. We're pretty safe with the Selective Breeder. We'd have to draw exactly the Shock Spitter. So yeah,
That's right.
Hero Power online.
Yeah, the hero power is good. There's not really a bad roll on the hero power in terms of the emergency maneuvers. Getting 2 4/4s with taunt, that's good. Getting 2 Huffers, good. So they're in a pretty good position here into the Kara coming down.
And that's going to make a couple of annoying taunts.
And it's good to have the taunts. They get in the way of Galvangar. They already have the freezing trap up, so there's some protection from Galvangar already.
We know Hydralodon's at the bottom we can get with this Harpoon Gun eventually. Now the question is, do we want to discover a cheaper Hydralodon, or I think I still want another Shock Spitter. I mean, another Hydralodon's really nice too, but
I agree. I expect that Warrior's going to have the tools to deal with a Hydralodon, and they're putting up so much armor at this point that anything you can do to get your hands on more Shock Spitters. I imagine they're just going to keep trying to juice those up, get one down with the Devouring Swarm to get it back to the hand, hope to draw a brand soon to get some extra discovers off of the Selective Breeder, pick more than one Shock Spitter, but that remains to be seen. Meanwhile, they just keep putting the pressure down on the board, forcing Super Chicken to use some of this control tools that they've got.
Yeah, I was interested in holding back on the Breeder there.
Not for my fault.
And Chicken able to get some more armor there. The pressure there with the minions, not a big deal with that Gal Vanguard combo that we're looking to do eventually.
Goes into the Wild Spirits. A discounted Battle Ram on the right as well. You mentioned the Selective Breeder. I would guess that Donde is trying to get a Bran or trying to get a Zola, something that will get them more of these Shock Spitters. In a tricky position, no minions on the board with the Conjured Arrow in hand. I wonder if there's any sense in just playing it on one of your own.
Yeah, and there it goes.
Takes out the
Ooh,
Fox.
That's the risk I was worried about. I believe that's the last Shock Spitter, right?
I don't know if it is.
Oh, no.
I don't believe they've played one yet. Yeah.
Okay, so they do
But
still have one, but now with that in mind, didn't want to risk drawing it anymore. Does have 3 Shock Spitters.
that's right.
It looks like we went with the Trog instead of the Hydralodon, by the way. I did not. That's interesting.
Yeah, they've used their Rancor, but it seems to me that their game plan may be just let's get these Shock Spitters out. They've got one more tracking in the deck, so they could use that to find weapons if they don't draw into any before that comes up. Bad news with the Gold Chernel coming down, that is going to proc the secret, which means that will not be in place when Gal Vanguard comes down, so these top minions are going to be that much more valuable.
Yeah, and that is a lot of armor to get through here. Haven't seen too many weapons either. Arcane Quiver. I didn't even see that in here. Hold on. I didn't even
Yeah,
notice
interesting to
those
see
in
the
here.
Arcane Quiver.
Wow.
Arcane Quiver, which when you discover an arcane spell gives it +1. I don't believe they have any arcane spells that deal damage. Except for the Conjured Arrows, which are mostly there for draw. So Arcane Quiver effectively a more expensive tracking right now, but a way of finding some of the things that might help Donde juice these Shock Spitters a little bit more. They do drop Astalor.
Yeah, only 15 damage here with these Shock Spitters right now. Desperately either needing Chicken to commit to the board so we can get a devouring on these Shock Spitters, which is very unlikely, or getting a weapon to keep pushing at least these Shock Spitters up. But right now, just getting forked by these weapons. Chicken playing really smart here into the win condition. Galvanger almost ready actually to go, and would be getting close to lethal here. Do we have? I mean, after the Astalor.
Yeah, Astalor in hand too, so it really just needs to get down to Donde really needs to get some stuff out on board to protect himself against Astalor.
Yeah, so
Finds the
there's that
tracking.
like you said. Do you hear some weapons finally? It's a little bit late, but are we going to be able to get there? We have to place
Yeah,
some
it's a little
minions
bit
here.
tough.
Otherwise, we are in trouble to the Astalor just by itself.
Goes for the harpoon gun.
I imagine we'll see this Ram Hero Power.
I would imagine so. I imagine this is probably a good moment to pick the Hydralodon now. You've got to imagine that some of these minions are going to come down to try and close out the game. You're going to want that to be able to deal with them if you're able to survive. And just like you said, we've got the Ram and we've got Hover.
Oh, wow. What is this card?
Yeah, I don't see this one very often, do you?
No, certainly not. Oh, and only won one of those. Oh, gets another win there and finds some armor here, desperately needed. And another win there. Can we get a third win and a third victory there for Chicken to just draw a ton of cards.
For
But
2 mana, what value?
yeah, is it going to be enough here? We do have, we can't Aslar now. We have a Null for 1. We have the Buckler. We have the Shield Slam. We have the Hero Power. Yeah, trade there. Hero Power the 4/2. And then Buckler. Yeah, I guess just leave that Breeder up. We don't care about that. And now setting up for potentially now the Astalar getting there, but still being a little stubborn there for Donde. Right now, Donde has 21 damage off of these Shock Spitters. Not enough here.
It's not enough, and it's getting closer and closer to just the inevitable at this point. You've still got to get stats out on the board to protect yourself against their Astalor, but every time they do that, they continue to take this damage to the face, and Galvangar becomes scarier and scarier. Going to be a 9/9 with charge eventually when it comes down.
Yeah, this is very, very close to being over here. Not quite enough. Right, 9 plus, yeah, 3. Yeah, we're 1 off.
In
right?
fact, I think he has.
Right now.
It's 5 plus 9, so I think he
no,
has
12.
it with the Galvangar right now.
With the Galvangar in the Hero Power. So yeah, that is just going to be it. Set up with the Galvangar there. I was looking too much at the Astalor, but yeah, that is going to be it. And not able to get the Shock Spitters down at all. Not enough damage yet.
And no taunt off of the Hero Power, which would have been helpful in that position, but couldn't find it.
Yeah, taunt could have saved him one more turn, but that is not going to be the case here. Super Chicken just doing all the math, making double sure. And I think we'll see that Galvangar weapon Hero Power take the win.
Taking his time. Oh, he's hovering over the brawl.
Chicken. Oh no.
Uh-oh.
Oh no.
He rips it.
Oh, you don't want to see that.
Yeah, it's a missed lethal from Super Chicken.
It may not matter here.
Yeah, it's still a difficult position for Donde. Not very many stats available to put on the board at this point. But let's see if they find what they need just to capitalize off of this at this point. There is a minion down. You do have Devouring Swarms. There is no discount on these anymore.
Yeah, you could Candle Shot, Shock Spitter, Face, and then Devouring Swarm,
and then lose to Astalor.
But that's what you do as Donde here. You don't know that that's in the hand. Super Chicken manages to still get the win here, assuming everything goes as we expect, despite missing that lethal there. Not very characteristic of Super Chicken.
Yeah, oftentimes you become a little bit preoccupied with making sure you don't die, and you just miss what's right there in front of you. Play it safe, but it's gonna end up leading to the same place anyway. And that'll do it for game 1. Super Chicken taking the win with the Control Warrior.
Yeah, managing to find that win there. That was definitely a close one, but Donde unable to find enough weapons early. Lots of armor on the other side. And played really smart there for most of that game, I would say, for Super Chicken. Really the only misplay I saw was missing that lethal there, but really smartly kind of using the control tools and holding on and using the weapons to deal the damage and get within the a range that he could take the win.
Yeah, definitely knew his role there. Didn't worry too much about trying to put on counter pressure, which probably made a huge difference because it denied use of the Devouring Swarms for Donde, which could have given him some opportunities to start playing out those Shock Spitters early, getting value out of those. Never saw the opportunity for that until it was too late.
Yeah, absolutely. So with that win there, what do you think Dante's going to do? Knowing that Warrior's gone, it's just that Priest and Mage has the Shaman, has the Hunter still. I think we'll probably holding off on the Demon Hunter until we absolutely have to. So what do you think we're going to see? Maybe the Evolved Shaman. I feel like it has a good matchup into both of those remaining decks.
Yeah, I could see the Evolved Shaman coming. You know, the Evolve is very valuable against what's left, and it is the Shaman indeed.
Do you feel the storm coming?
Donde with the Muck Pool offer. I don't see really anything else worth keeping there. Meanwhile, Super Chicken is offered Arcane Defenders, Drakefire Amulet, and the Parrot.
I think
Another dead hand.
Yeah, I think just Muck Pools is the only thing that's going to remain in both these hands here.
I would imagine that you are right about that. Yeah, I can't see any reason to keep anything else.
And that is going to be the case. And on the other side of things, Super Chicken with a much nicer looking hand.
And for Donde as well.
Oh, yeah. Really nice.
And the schooling.
Oh, my God.
So
yeah.
That's going to be a turn. That's going to be a huge turn 2 for Donde. I guess all roads lead to Rome, right? It probably does the same thing. Interesting to see that come down first. Typically, I see people play the schooling.
Yeah, you would think the schooling first as well, right? Because then you can play the null into the Muck Pools when you have it in your hand, so you're actually one card higher in your hand, right? So now, with that misplay, our null is too expensive, right? If we had Piranha last turn, we could have played null, coin, Muck Pool.
That's right. And you would have been able to clear one of these Farwatch posts with the Goldshire null, and instead you're going to start getting these huge cost increases to every card that comes up. We will see the null come down now.
Yeah, we do still get it, but it's going to be one turn later, and
oh no, and you get the null.
Not the result you want to see. We do have the other null in hand, but we're 2 turns away now for that Muck Pools to go off, and that Pelican Diver is just going to deal nicely with this null that's remaining.
Yeah. Silver lining is you got rid of both. You were able to get rid of both of the watch posts with that, so you don't have to worry about those anymore. But not really the result you want from that combination of things. And with the Muck Pools on cooldown, we'll see what Donde decides to do.
Yeah, and interestingly, on the other side, Chicken manages to get the 10 armor as well, so hitting that big Drake Fire, which we can also trade away and maybe hit it again with that other Evoker.
That's right. And does have a Mailbox Dancer in hand, so you could use that at some point to try and, could have if it came down earlier, I suppose, to try and cheat out Belinda, try and cheat out a Barbaric Sorceress, but with neither of those in hand, rightly holds that. Good cards to have in the early game, though, and we do see Donde opt for the weapon. That's another high win rate card on the mulligan. But just a couple of bungles giving Super Chicken an opportunity to just armor up huge. And
how about 10 more armor? You like that?
Yeah. Tough position here, but we do see the null come down again.
Donde a little bit better this time, but still one of the lower rolls that you can get.
That's right. Those 8/8s, funnily enough, not the what you want. But take that over another null.
Yeah, absolutely.
Takes the opportunity to get the Wind Chill out of hand. Not going to be a lot of opportunities to play a 3-cost Wind Chill going forward.
Oh, wow, and hits the coin in the hand there with that Sorceress. It is nothing is going here the way of Donde. You know, there were some pretty good results, but you know, that was the definitely the cheapest. We had a 0, 1, a 6, and a 5 that could have switched there.
Yeah, oftentimes you want to try and toss that coin before turn 6, and had he done that, he would have been able to probably use the disguise to get maybe a reroll on that giant, get something a little bit better. All that would have been left for that barbaric sorceress would have been the tiny toys or the command of Neptulon. Still not great, but much better than a 0-cost Drakefire amulet.
Yeah, absolutely. And now double convincing disguise in the hand does have the Piranha Swarmers to try to get those pumped up a little bit, maybe for a tiny toys next turn. Alternatively, I think maybe command a Neptulon in addition to these Swarmers. No, they're going to be the Swarmers. And that means we're just going to trade into the Sorceress here. Oh.
Yep, Juicy's convincing disguise is up. Create a little bit of board space for tiny toys. Leaves with the 2/2 totem. Just got a board full of totems. Donde also has a Glug in hand, and I'm not completely sure what kind of beach, if any, big spell mage runs, but that will be a difficult card to deal with unless they can find their Rune of the Archmage, because you're gonna have to run through those 3 taunts, and that will juice the head of Glug. But right now, Super Chicken taking the role of the beatdown, and Donde gonna need to figure out how to withstand the pressure.
Yeah, not exactly where you want to be. We do have the Glug, as you mentioned. Maybe opts for that, hoping they don't have the answer instead. Yeah, alternatively, could go for the tiny toys. Finds a few interesting ones. I wonder where this disguise. Yeah, there it is.
You need to roll pretty big here.
And an Illuminate off of the Lyra does hit a taunt, which is pretty nice. Does, I think, on board keep them alive. The Astalor could be it, though, depending on where that Astalor goes. If you risk that for chicken, I'm not sure. Right.
Yeah,
We have 14.
on turn 8, it's just 8 damage. With this much on board, it's probably not going to be enough.
We do have
and that taunt is huge.
Probably on the Tess or no, the Huntsman. I would guess.
Yeah, I would guess the Huntsman, just because it would go to 8, but decides to find something better than a 2/1, and a Rodent's Nest is better than a 2/1. Draws Neptulon with the Banker, so when that Banker dies, Neptulon will end up in hand. That's not awesome for Donde, because it tells Super Chicken that that will be in hand, and Super Chicken will be positioned to play around it.
Yeah, but not even going to need to. Can freeze the board here. Keep pushing damage if possible, and set up for a potential rune turn if we don't have a different answer. What have we played spell-wise? We played Drakefire Amulet as the fire, and I think that's it. So Magister Dograsp not going to be quite enough.
Yeah, this is a tough spot for Donde again. I'm surprised to see Super Chicken play the location second. Could have cleared the Huntsman had he chosen to freeze that first. There might have been some board space issues. I'd have to look back at how many minions were on the board for Super Chicken, but says that freezing the board's enough. I'm gonna keep putting pressure on, and going on to turn 9 with the Rune of the Archmage might roll high and clear this board anyway.
Is this going to be command into convincing disguise number 2? That does mean our Neptulon is gone, but this will be a pretty big board. I don't dislike it. I mean, we're going all in, but I think that's where we have to be for Donde at 10 health. facing this, does hit a King Crush. That's going to go face.
Whoa.
And
Chip away at
that's
some
a
of
lot
that armor.
stats.
There are death rattles, so unless there is a masked polymorph here, it won't clear the board, any of the board clear that he
Does hit
discovers.
the Crush.
Clean the kill on the Crush. Do get Arcane Defenders down. Those are difficult to deal with, but with so much on the board, Dande likely will be able to get through
Bloodlust.
to it.
That's not enough. It can't be, right? We have to swing twice.
Bloodlust does a lot, but yeah, I don't
It
think
is a
it's
lot.
quite enough yet.
If we use the 3 and 4 attack minions, we have 10, 15 plus. Yeah, it's not enough, but
May do it anyway. It's a huge swing.
Yeah.
Will let you use the worst minions to get through these Arcane Defenders rather than having to sacrifice this Death Rattle minion. That's such a sticky body to have on the board against something like Big Spell Mage. You kind of want to preserve that if you can. You might just drop the Glug here and start taking the stats off of it.
Interesting. Yeah, that's not bad either. I think I maybe like the Bloodlust a little bit better, but I can see holding back for a lethal with it. And of course, this is not too bad, getting some nice stats here. But we are getting rid of our more important of the death rattles there to deal with a weird mage response. We do see the other rune in the hand, so it might just come down to that. Yeah, and we have this paired as well, so we can actually rune 3 turns in a row and hope that's enough here. Let's see what happens. That Volatile Skeleton is alive.
On an amulet.
Oh, that goes face.
To the face.
Solid alibi.
Oh,
Keep him
no.
alive for at least another turn here. Oh, boy.
And the Ice Barrier adds extra defense.
Yeah, wow. And down to 3 health. On the other side of things, we don't have lethal quite yet. The Magister would only go up to 2. I mean, if the skeleton hits face, we're set up lethal, but it's going to be down to that right now.
Yeah, it was a really painful roll of the Rune of the Archmage for Dande there, getting that that protection up for Super Chicken. Things just not going Dande's way these matches.
Absolutely not. Chisel's not going to do it either here. Just has to try to set up for another, lethal next turn if we can survive. Right now, Dande is alive, but that rune could kill him. The Magister potentially could kill him if that 2 damage goes face after some trades or something else goes down.
Right. It'll be an interesting decision for Super Chicken if Dande preserves this wide board here, because on one hand, at the moment, you do not have lethal off of the Magister Dawngrasp, because as you pointed out earlier, it's just going to deal 2 damage. And you don't want to just leave a wide board up for the Shaman with a possible Bloodlust, because Bloodlust plus 3 across 7, that's plus 21, that's going to be enough.
And not quite what you want. Let's see where this goes. This could be huge, and okay, Dande does dodge the potential game winner there. We'll have to see what this 3rd rune does. 3 runes in a row. Imagine that's what we're going to see. Oh no, Astalar could be lethal.
Says Astalar can get 3 to face.
Yeah, 3 to face, that's not too much to ask for, right, Chicken? And let's see if it is. It already hit twice, 3 times, and that is going to be it. The Glug could not tank enough. That's a huge Glug, but it's not going to do it. And Chicken takes the 2nd one in a surprising fashion. I thought for sure Dande was going to be able to take it. Gets a few bad rolls on the Evolves and not able to get back into it. Super Chicken with another win, going up 2-0. Only the Priest remaining. Will Dande be able to get the reverse sweep, or are we going to see Super Chicken and his team take a full sweep here tonight?
Yeah, really tough couple of games for Dande so far, and a showcase of how small mistakes on early turns make a huge difference down the line, because in that early game, even after he played the wrong order with that null combo, it seemed as though he was putting up boards, managing Super Chicken's boards just fine, but not being able to, get a Denathrius on turn 2 or 8/8 Elemental with Wind Fury on 2. Instead having to wait to 3, and then you roll badly, and you just can't get ahead as you might have been able to. It does re-roll the Shaman going up against Super Chicken's Priest.
Yeah, that's not too surprising. Does have ways to interact with their big minions. So I think maybe we'll be looking for that.
Is offered the null.
Yeah, I like keeping the null, and actually keeps the prescience there as well.
Yeah, prescience is always interesting on 4. Gives you a chance of rolling into Shadow Hunter Vol'jin and Neptulon the Tide Hunter. Get a pretty powerful turn 5 play. We see the Elemental come right down for Super Chicken. Super Chicken is running an Animate Dead, so you're able to play those out early just for tempo, because you can resurrect them later.
Yeah, that's going to line up nicely here. Has the switcheroo to follow up. Finds the other Radiant as well, and the Priestess. I think we're going to see some fireworks next turn. Unless this null comes down to try to slow things down, it is going to come down. It may still be a couple turns away from those fireworks, but it is slowly but surely getting there. And currently, none of the evolves we're looking for. I mean, Primordial Wave could be used here, but you don't love using that without getting some value on the other side. Might still see it though with this null staying alive.
We do draw the Wild Paw Caverns, which gives pause to Dande's decision here. The Primordial Wave is so valuable for devolving some of the buffed minions that he'll eventually see from Super Chicken. Probably one of these Radiant Elementals going from a big body to just a one-cost minion of some sort. But it's hard to turn down making this null something even better here on turn 4 before Super Chicken has a chance to play their power turns.
Yeah,
interesting.
Totally
Goes for the prescience instead.
Yeah, Dande going for the prescience, saying, I can hold off this turn, push some damage. You're going to have a hard time getting through these taunts to kill this null unless you've got double devour or something like that. We do see that is the case. But we'll have to see if that is going to be the play here for Super Chicken, or if we're going to hold back a little bit longer.
Yeah, bold choice with knowing that those Shadow Words Devour are in hand. The wider you go, the more powerful those spells become, but decides that turn 5 is going to be too early for Super Chicken to really pop off in any meaningful way, and is going to be able to get the value out of those 2/3s and without losing the Gold Null here.
Yeah, and has the other null in hand too. We could just see that null come down with that Primordial. I mean, you don't love using it without getting the devolve on the other side of things in this matchup, but getting 2 10 costs is hard to pass up as well.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to pass that up. Plus, you can. Oh,
well, Dande does pass it up.
Now we're going to see a big turn from Super Chicken, I would expect.
Yeah, it is going to be quite a big turn here. We do have the Handmaidens as well. I think trying to do some math here, get these Handmaidens off. We have the Illuminate into Animate Dead. Could find... Oh.
Playing these things out before the Powered Fortitude, which I find interesting. I wonder if they're keeping that for a reason, or perhaps they just overlooked it. Perhaps they did the counting of mana, and the cost it was at was still too much.
Okay, I mean, this is a big pop-off turn. As we said, the Priest is able to be played here as well. Keep pumping those cards. back to 5 mana. Another Wig. Another Wig. A Bless. And a Giant Taunt. And now Donde is going to get rewarded for holding off on the Primordial Wave. Lets the second null able to survive the double Shadow Word Devour. And it's going to turn out pretty nicely here with, I mean, we still have that taunt in the way. That Ascended Kyrion's going to still be a big minion, but now you're dealing with one big minion on either side instead of these two giants that we were staring down before. And Donde hitting a 12-12 on the other side, only a giant, only an 8-8.
Yeah, you'll take a 8-8 over a 24-24 anytime, I think. So, you hate to have anything huge like that there, but after that's what that evolve is so good for. Does manage to hold on to it with a null still on the board, so you preserve some of that null value. Chicken does draw a second Boon of the Ascended, but doesn't have perhaps as big of a body out on the board as you might want, especially given the board state for Donde. Donde does have the Blood Rage in hand.
Wow, so going for a 14-14 that way.
Yeah.
Not a bad play to try to stay alive here.
Yeah, try and circumvent a possible blood. Now, Donde does have Glug in hand, and these are some big bodies that he can use to juice it up.
Yeah, that'll be a big Glug for sure if we do go that direction. I'm just double checking this list here. It doesn't look like there's any silence in the priest list.
Boone does run Shard of the Naru. I do
Oh no,
see
there is a
that
shard.
at one.
There's double shards, so that might be the fear here for Donde, making those trades and then having a shard just take down the Glug. But deciding it's still worth it here. Just not allowing Chicken to have anything stick on the board. Let's see if we do find that shard. We have the Handmaiden available to try to find it. The Thrive as well. Gift of the Naru pick there. Was there a shard in there?
There was
so
not a
quickly
shard in
picked.
there.
Okay. It was so quickly picked I didn't see. Going for Sunwell here.
Interesting
so
pick going for the Sunwill there.
Yeah, choosing not to try the Handmaiden instead of the Sunwell.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the thinking was for Super Chicken there. Still had a chance of pulling a silence with the Handmaiden, but decides, you know what? Let's just call this one and move on to the next ones.
Yeah, we're gonna have to see what comes out next. Dante still holding on here. Has to try to reverse sweep this priest. Now we are at 2-1, so able to get at least a win. And this is gonna be the hunter next to try to take down this priest. Is it gonna be enough? There's that shard of the Naru taunting Chicken after that last game. And Donde here probably gonna toss all of these back. Chicken, do you keep a wig without anything else in hand, or do you just toss all of this?
I'm not an expert on Boon Priest, but as I understood it, you typically want to try and find your draw early, so that you get the stuff you want in hand by around turn 5. But a lot of people love the power and value that you can get off of Serpent Wig. Does decide to send it back and gets a switcheroo in its place. That's I think better. Full mulligan for Donde as well. Finds a Spirit Poacher, but nothing good on one. You would have loved to see a Iron Deep Trog in the opening hand here to deny Super Chicken some of the early spells.
Yeah, I think that's
We'll be able to
exactly
put
what he was
Spirit
looking
Poacher
for.
into Wild
Now
Spirits.
it's taunting him. But I think this is just too good to pass up the Poacher into the Wild Spirits. So Trog's just going to have to wait, even though, we would have liked to see it that turn before.
Yeah, you would have loved to see it the turn before. I do think it is the right call playing the poacher out because you play once your opponent plays one spell, you get 2/1/2s, and instead right now you have a 2/2 and then something better than a 1/2 in a turn or so. So I think it was the right call. Does get this extra value with the wild spirits, and it's a pretty strong opening board for Donde against the priest. Will it be enough?
That is a lot of potential there in Chicken's hand, and we again have the double Devour, which might be able to answer some of this board here and make something big on the other side, as well as that boon, and we have double Radiance in the hand as well, so we could see something pop off very soon.
Yeah, it's tricky. It's hard to not go with this wild spirits here, giving you the weapon right away, creating more threats. But with Shadow Word Devour, an ever-present threat, and he's gonna drop the Trog as well, make it even more tempting for Super Chicken to just go ahead and play and get a really big Radiant Elemental here.
Yeah, and critically, the board's locked as well, so this Trog gonna just get taken out by the double Devour if we do go that direction. Has to do something here, though. We are looking at lethal on the other side for Chicken. So yeah, it is going to be.
No, the Trog does activate after all because of the two minions that die right away.
Yep. That makes sense.
Yeah, I thought you were correct in your assessment that it wouldn't, but learned something just now. How interesting. Goes ahead and plays out the Boon of the Ascended, says a 2/16 with taunt is going to be just fine against what my opponent's doing. Can Donde get through it? Does draw the harpoon gun. It's a turn too early for the draw off of the Conjured Arrow, unfortunately. But can we bin a hero power for a little bit of extra damage?
Yeah, this is pretty awkward. We don't have a way to kill this. We kind of do want to swing. It's only 2 damage to take, so I think we will see that. But swinging with everything else. Wonder if we trade 1 or 2 of these Trogs? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm surprised to see the trade of the 2/4 Spirit of the Bear there. If only because, if Super Chicken has 2 blesses in hand, it's good to have 2 taunts up. Now you've only got the 1.
Yeah, the 2/2 bear, yeah.
No bless yet.
It's going to be able to answer everything on the board. And Donde, no answer for the 2/16. And like we said, we don't have the Keen Eyes in this list, so it's going to be tough. It's just a matter of time for Chicken to find those blesses. We're on a very serious clock here for Donde. Gonna have to find those Shock Spitters soon.
Yeah, no Shock Spitters in hand. You will be able to draw with the Conjured Arrow, but that's only going to give you space for 1 Shock Spitter, with there being no discount on them yet from a Ram. And it's going to be board locked. You can eventually trade those 1/2s, but 1/2s aren't going to be enough against what Super Chicken's threatening with.
And Chicken able to see exactly what's in the hand as well, so knows what's potentially coming there. Knows there's a Brand, there's a Zola, so just a matter of time if a Shock Spitter comes into the hand. That's going to be a lot of damage very soon, but not able to find it. Does find the Tavish. Could be an answer to some of this. Can get
yeah, that's right.
For one of these big things, maybe explosive into freezing, so the 3/2 dies. Not sure.
Yeah, that seems like it would be the way to do it. I see him considering the Conjured Arrow.
Yeah, Conjured Arrow's also not a bad pickup. We do need to try to set up the lethal here soon. We don't want to waste too much time, so I like that play. Does find the Breeder to be able to get one of these Shock Spitters in hand. Could go Breeder in another arrow.
And we'll be able to clean up this 3-8 by trading a little bit of health, leaving only a
Another breeder
216. But
available. Going for the
looks
Hydraulic
like,
though.
yeah, I think that's good. It's hard to leave this 216 up with all of the silly things that Boon Priest is able to do to buff it eventually, but at the moment you just got to do what you can with what you have against what you know. And for now, getting rid of 2 minions will be enough. Keep some trogs on the board.
Go for the one shock spitter. We're gonna draw the Hydraulic as well. And Astalar picked up. With the Bran, we can start potentially getting enough damage. The shock spitter is gonna be up to 5. Are
So
we
with
gonna
the
find Bless
Bran,
though? I think it's gonna come down to a Bless. We have the Thrive in Shadows. That could find the Bless. Doesn't
oh
want to
no,
find the Bless. Illuminate could find a Bless.
oh
Does not
no,
want to find the Bless. Handmaiden
it does
could
find
find a
Boon.
Bless. Does find Boon. Boon is nice as well, but and then we will see that Boon come down, but still no. Oh, there it is, and there it is.
There
Is that
it is.
enough? That should be enough here,
I
and
think
that is
that
going to
will
be
be
lethal for
enough.
Chicken. And Dante, unfortunately, not able to get there. Chicken finding the Bless finally, and yeah, I believe we're looking at that's going to be more than enough here. Can even get that Boon down if we want. Play it all, show it off, 31 damage, and that is going to be the win for Chicken. 3-1, the sweep for the team. Dante unable to get there, unfortunately, but good effort there from his team. No one went, 0. No one got swept, so at least getting some points for the team here in a tough week. And congratulations to Chicken and his team.
Yeah, tough weeks, tough opponents, tough games. A lot of difficult decisions there, but yeah, congratulations, Super Chicken, on a well-played match, and then critically, probably a well-played, a well-thought-out lineup to counter some of the popular things that so many people are trying to bring these days, and paid off in this case.
Gonna line up Chicken here for a quick interview.
Sounds good.
There he is. How you doing, Super
Hello.
Chicken?
Welcome. Congratulations.
Thanks. Yeah. Haven't played a match on stream in a bit, so yeah, it's nice to be back.
Yeah, some nice play there. A fun lineup we were talking about. Really interesting choices. Not too surprising from you, of course, but was an interesting sort of matchup there to see. And I would say you played it really well. It was really fun to watch. There were a couple of small missteps. I don't know if you noticed or if anyone messaged you at any point throughout. But
Okay. 14's a weird number.
it is a weird
Has
number.
anyone
Okay,
ever said this before?
14 is
Yeah, I
certainly a
was
weird
like,
number.
I was such a silly mistake. Like, I was counting for some reason I counted the Galvangar without the +3, so I was
Sure.
like, oh, I have 11. So I just need to swing one more this turn, and then if he doesn't taunt, I'll have it next turn. But that was not the case. Yeah, I
I
did.
mean, got the win
Tends to
anyway,
happen.
right? It was just the extended BM as Justin said in chat.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that like I've tried to like work on. I kind of rush like through some of my turns sometimes. And don't really take like a full account of like I guess the state of the game. So, I mean, that's definitely something I feel like I have improved on in the past year or so, but I mean, yeah, obviously like these these things do come up every so often. And in
Yeah,
some
hey,
pretty
I
funny
mean,
ways. I mean,
no judgment for me. I've definitely missed my share of lethals in the past. Good to always keep improving and keep an eye out. But fun to see those on stream sometimes, especially from a player like you that you wouldn't expect seeing
Yeah,
that
the war,
too
I
often.
think like I felt like pretty, I don't know, I felt a little bit shaky on the warrior. I had practiced it with
Mhm.
like I this is like kind of Justin's deck that he'd been laddering with a lot, and I've been practicing like this specific matchup as that specific matchup as well. Um, so I didn't feel like completely um unprepared for it, but I mean it's still the deck that I have played the least. So there were definitely a lot of decisions that in that game that felt like that I wasn't super sure of. I think it was also the game that probably like um had the most impactful decisions. Like
Mhm.
the other games felt a lot more straightforward. Whereas that one, like it really didn't to me. And
Sure. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I
I
think
Fair
guess
enough.
yeah, I think to your credit, as best as I was able to tell, it was the only mistake you made throughout that match, and a lot of the choices that you made to withhold minions from the board, for example, I think were right on. And when you're playing the control, um, sometimes you forget to ask, do I have lethal here? Because you are just thinking about what do I need to do to survive to my next turn, deplete my opponent of resources, and you were facing a pretty scary board there on that turn. So I don't fault you for that at all. I think that you played that matchup really well, and it was just one turn later anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely able to chip away with those weapons, holding back those minions, like you said. Really well played with that. Just one mistake that we like to poke fun at. One other question I had for you about the priest, the first priest game that Donda ended up winning. I believe you had a couple of silences in the deck, the shards. I know you were like desperately digging for them, and then eventually you decided not to play. I think you went for the Sunwell instead of going for the draw 3 with the minion. Can you tell me a bit about that decision? You ended up not hitting a silence there, so I wasn't sure if you had some thought process there for choosing one over the other.
um I would say there wasn't too much thought behind it. I think even if I hit the silence, I would not have won that game. I think I was just kind of like hoping for a miracle with like the Sunwell somehow. Like maybe I hit a silence there anyways with the Sunwell, and then also hit some nut spells. Um, I guess like there was the option of like trying to hit the silence and then going for the Sunwell the next turn, but it felt like I don't know. It did feel like I needed a lot of uh even just like to have some sort of board presence that turn. Um, yeah, I the uh the primordial wave there was pretty backbreaking. I mean, I figured it was either he had it or he didn't. It's like a pretty bad matchup, so you just go all in and say
Sure.
you have it or you don't. And then yeah, afterwards I was like, well, I probably need something insane from the Sunwell, and if I don't hit it, I think the game's over. So that I was mainly just kind of playing for the high roll at that point because I mean, I guess maybe the silence would have gotten there, but yeah, at the time I felt like it wouldn't have done enough.
Yeah, fair enough. It was definitely a tough spot and wasn't, clear cut that you were gonna be able to stabilize even with the silence. And then it was just funny that second priest game, you didn't end up winning, but it felt like you were really searching desperately for that bless and could not find it until that very last draw. It felt like that got you the win in the end.
Yeah, I was starting to get a little a little nervous because I'd lost the boon minion. So he was basically just like, I mean, he had been kind of getting a few weapon swings in as well. So and I wasn't like super high on health, so I was like at risk of dying and also at risk of him top decking the what's it called? Or no, sorry, he didn't run the 3/4, but like yeah, I was just worried about like him eventually getting like Battle Ram up, and then like once he got to 7 mana, he could have gone like Brand double Shock Spitter. So I felt like he was like close to assembling enough stuff to kill me. So I think it was pretty fortunate that I hit the bless when I did there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I definitely agree. It was starting to stabilize. I think Donde with the draws was probably still, 2 turns away. So you maybe had one more turn after that, but definitely getting there, and you were able to find it just in time. Maybe could have cleared or dealt with the minion in some way. But yeah, really, really well played. Any other thoughts here, my other casters? I've been monopolizing the chatting here.
What about Donde's low
Hardly from
rolls?
me.
Not at the same time. One at a time, guys.
We're inundating Chicken with a bunch of information and all at once.
Okay, now answer all those questions and at the same time as well.
Yeah. In sequence, please. Thank you.
In sequence.
Go ahead,
I
Austin.
actually
No,
didn't hear like I
was just
didn't hear
curious.
anything.
I was just curious about your choice of lineup. You bring the rogue, but not the demon hunter, not some of the more conventional choices. Really interesting to bring the controller and even the boon priest, which suffered those nerfs a couple of weeks back. What was the process of planning for you to bring the amulet mage, the boon priest, and the control warrior?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty likely he was going to bring Demon Hunter, so I wanted stuff that was that kind of leaned towards that a bit. And these decks don't have like overwhelmingly good matchups against Demon Hunter, but they do. They're kind of like slight favorites. So I wanted to give myself like a bit of a slight edge there, and I kind of shot myself in the foot a little bit because two of those decks were like so abysmally bad into Shaman. Like I think Big Spell. I like insanely. I managed to win with Big Spell Mage, but I think that matchup is like pretty miserable as well. And I probably wouldn't have won that had he not rolled like Null Evolve into Null again.
Yeah.
Like that might have just
Yep.
ended the game there. There were a lot of other like instances. Like had he remembered to use the coin in his hand, maybe I wouldn't have won that game. Um, so yeah, like I kind of, I mean, I did hit the Demon Hunter. Not that like, I mean, it made sense that he was holding it until for his last deck. But yeah, I also kind of gave myself a bit of an uphill battle trying to get wins with some of my decks because, yeah, had he like hit the Demon Hunter say into like the big Spell Mage or something and gotten a win there, I would have been in a pretty bad spot. But luckily it got a win into the shaman, so I didn't have to worry about it too much.
Well, congratulations! Really, really well played, and a really exciting series to watch.
Yeah, thanks so much. Yeah, it's I mean it's always pretty fun playing on stream, even if I make a bit of a silly mistake in game one. But I mean, like win or lose, I don't really mind too much. I think just cool being able to put some content on stream.
Yeah, thank you.
And
Thank
yeah,
you for coming
that's
on.
fun.
Definitely always a pleasure to have you. Fun interviews when you win, which is most of the time when we have you on. But yeah, excited to hopefully see you again this season, and congrats again for your team taking that full sweep on the series for the week.
Yeah, thanks so much. Yeah, we definitely needed the points because we had a couple. I guess we lost one week and then kind of had like a slight win in another week. So we're definitely trying to catch up a bit on points here. So yeah, all points matter, as one of the APM teams in the past would say.
Yeah, I was just checking stats over right now. So you guys, not including tonight, you're still in second place in pink, but I don't know if that's, yeah, you didn't submit yet, so you probably jump over F2O, I think. Anyway, doesn't matter.
Yeah, maybe.
Something like that. Maybe.
Sounds about right.
All good. Thanks again, Chicken, for joining us. You have yourself a great night.
Yeah, thanks so much. You too.
Here. Well, one match, but it was a great match. Get to see our director of content jump on screen, and then obviously one of the hosts of Hearth Center, Super Chicken, going head to head. So we had a content battle per se, providing content. That's what we love to see. Any final words before we let everybody go for the evening?
Nothing from me. Just keep on chugging along this season, everybody. Enjoy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Awesome.
same as well. Thanks again for having me, and everyone just continue to enjoy. I think it won't be long before the metagame shifts again. So let's all just do our best.
Yeah. So we'll see if I don't think there's any adjustments going to happen this week, right? For Rogue.
Hard to say.
There's
if I were to
rumors.
guess, I would guess the week after. But yeah, so
Yeah.
we'll be enduring Rogue for a little bit longer, but we're almost there. We're almost there. We can
That's
do
right.
it.
We get by. Well, thanks for everybody for joining us on stream. Thanks to the casters, my hustle for helping me out here. We will see you next week, Tuesday at our center at 9 p.m. Eastern. And recycle the streaming shows that are just keep an eyeball on the THL Discord times matches. So Friday, Saturday, and Sunday will be hopefully filled up so we can provide you with more. That's all we need.
Content.
Yeah. I can't do the drool that Homer does, but yeah, content. All right. Thanks, everybody. See you later. Be safe out there.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.